Hello, friends. Thank you for joining us. We are so glad that you're here with us today. Look, I don't know where you're standing at on this big old round ball we call Earth, but in New York City today, it is absolutely gorgeous outside right now. It is 67 degrees, partly sunny. Today is May 30th of 2024. And if we got some stuff for you guys today, we're going to talk about several different things. But first off, we're going to talk about what's happening with information in the Eric Alvarado case that we are currently working on. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into that because I really want to get it squared away and be done with it. So, the team got together in a conference call and we all discussed the need to really tell how this all got started in depth and what a learning tool this is for families of the missing, as well as other organizations out there who volunteer their time and their resources to help families of the missing, only to have crazy stuff happen, and which is one of the reasons why we want to work on legislation to stop this from happening, to make it a crime further than it already is, to target families of the missing. So we're currently working on that. Hold on just a second. Okay, I'm back. I paused there for a second. Y'all, please forgive me. I have awful cold, and it's awful, so I had to blow my nose, but like you needed to know that, but that's why I paused for a second. Anyways, yeah, bad enough that I had to cancel my chemotherapy for today because, well, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But anyway, so we're going to really get in depth about this and talk about how all of this started. That way families will know what to watch for, what to look for, and how to avoid it. Just avoid it. It'll make your life so much easier, I promise you. So let's talk about social media influencers that are bad. Now, let me state that I do not think all social media influencers are bad. In fact, we've been guests on social media influencers pages all across the internet, on Facebook, YouTube, you know, every platform there is. We've been guests on different people's platforms talking about JC Cares USA and Ace of Smiles as a whole, and all of that good stuff. Sorry, folks. Okay, so anyway, there are bad social media influencers out there. People who are in it for the money and in it for the clicks, and they want to grow their channel and they want to do all this crazy stuff. And that's fine. But when it comes to a serious issue like a missing persons case, you want to be very careful what information gets put out. You want to make sure that the information that gets put out is not sensitive to the case, and you want to make sure that the information that's put out is not one-sided. You want to be able to get it all out there and figure out what is really going on. And oftentimes, bad social media influencers will sensationalize cases, they'll stretch the truth, they'll flat out lie. They will do very underhanded things, as you're going to find out as we get deeper into this podcast, just how underhanded it can get. So let's start at the beginning. I'm not sure exactly what date this group formed, because I didn't go look to see when they formed their group, but there are some Facebook pages that were created by a group of people. And Melissa, our volunteer Melissa from Texas, was one of those people involved in this missing persons group. It's something that Melissa's been passionate about for a long time. So anyways, and I don't have any objection to people having missing persons groups. You know, we have them. We're members of them for other people that have missing persons group. We have a volunteer out of Pennsylvania who has a missing persons group for her area, and all the missing people that go missing in her area. We're a part of her group. I mean, there is just a lot that goes into this. You meet a lot of people and you learn a lot of things. So, anyways, Melissa was a part of this group. This was long before JC Cares ever became involved with the Eric Alvarado case and Melissa, the volunteer. Now, Melissa is someone who the father of Eric Alvarado knows well and has known for some many years, and he really appreciates everything that she has done in Eric's case, all the work that she has put in on it, as do we, but that was before we were even involved in the case. So up until JC Cares became involved in Eric Alvarado's case, we did not know any of the parties involved. None. We still have not talked with, we've never spoken with, or talked with the rogue YouTuber, ever. We've never had conversation with her. We've never communicated with her. She has sent us some pretty telling, nasty messages and etc., etc. But we just ignored them, moved on. So, but anyways, so we have never met, spoken with, anything with them, ever. They don't know us. They know nothing about us, what we've done, who works with us. Nothing. They know nothing. They know nothing, obviously. So, anyways, when Eric's father reached out to us and asked us to step in and work on the case, there were a couple of things. We've talked about this in previous podcasts, but we're going to reiterate it for new followers, because we have new people listening to our podcast every day. And so we want everybody, and I do encourage you to go back and listen to other podcasts about this subject, and of course our other cases, but really listen to Eric Alvarado's case and all the different things that have happened and why this is such a huge, huge violation against this family and against Eric's case. And, JC Cares USA as a whole, we're an organization. Everybody that works here is kind of like, whatever. Remember back in the day when people used to do that? Whatever. But anyway, gotta lighten it a little bit, right? All of us are like, whatever. That's why we don't work with social media influencers. But when it comes to the family and the people working with the family who are on a constant barrage of attack, as an organization that advocates for the families of the missing, we take that to heart. And, gosh, you guys, we just hate it. That's the only reason that we even respond to any of it, is because they're putting out incorrect information, and we have to respond to correct the information so that the public gets the correct information. And we can only speak for the investigation that we have done. And that's, what the information that we give you is the information for what we have researched, what we have investigated. That is the information that we provide to the public. Are we always 100% right? No, of course not. Who is? As I've said before, there's only one man that ever walked the face of this earth who had it all right. And that was Jesus. So, none of us are without error or shortcomings or etc. We all have those, right? Nobody's perfect except for our Lord and Savior. But anyway, so let's talk a little bit about these folks who profess themselves to be journalists when they're doing things that are not appropriate. And we need to change the laws that govern what you can do, and two people, two human beings, right? Okay, so let's jump in. Okay, so Melissa met these people, these ladies. There was like 3 or 4 of them all together in this group. They had their Facebook stuff going, YouTube stuff, whatever. I'm not sure exactly what all platforms they were on, but they were doing a bunch of stuff. And one of these women worked for this really small town newspaper, it's my understanding, at one point. In addition, the other ones were like, different things in their life. I'm not sure, but, and it really doesn't matter. The significance of the one woman will come to light here shortly. But anyways, the narrative of their relationship, the whole time that these women were talking, is that they were all working to get monetized to make money. Even Melissa was involved in that, which is fine. That was something that they were doing and that they were going to, you know, do their thing, make some money as an influencers, and hey, more power to you, as long as you're doing what's as long as you're doing the right thing, right? As long as you're doing the right thing, then it's all okay. We love working with influencers who are doing the right thing. We do that. As I said earlier, we've been guests on other people's platforms to talk about JC Cares USA and what we do. So there's nothing wrong with that. Where I have a problem is when they start crossing the line and will do anything and everything that they can to get monetized, including disparaged cases, disparaged family members, all kinds of put false information out, start attacking people, threatening, different kinds of stuff like that. And that's when I have an issue. And I say but I say that meaning JC Cares USA as a whole. Not just me. I'm the founder. But this organization is not just me. This organization goes from coast to coast with volunteers and people who work with us. So when members get together and discuss, stuff like this, it's very concerning to us, because not only are we advocates for missing persons, but we're human rights advocates. Every single one of us care about people, care about what happened to people, and want to make sure that people aren't victimized over and over and over. And that's exactly what's happening right here. And you'll understand more what I'm talking about. And I hope that some of you will reach out to your congressmen, senators in your respective states, and urge them to work on legislation governing what social media influencers are allowed to do regarding missing persons cases and their families without having written consent. These people just go and post whatever they want to post, whether they know if it's true or not. They will just do it. They don't fact check anything. They just do it. Now, we did an interview with Matt Alvarado, Eric's brother, a while back. And I interviewed Matt just like I would anybody else. And this was the brother of our missing person. But I want the truth out. And so I interviewed him just like I would anybody else. I asked him questions. I asked him thorough questions and asked him to explain answers. And when I asked some questions, he said, no, that didn't happen. And I was like, okay. I didn't try to change the narrative. I didn't try to steer his conversation. Let him answer the questions the way that he wanted to answer the questions. And from his truth. And that's exactly what he did. So, some of the things that he talked about were totally the opposite of what was being posted. But some things he did agree with. And he answered correctly and honestly about those things that he did agree with. And so I thought that interview was a great interview. But anyway, having said that, so from the beginning, this group was working to get monetized so that they could make money. They were wanting to, grow and do their thing. And this is according to Melissa, what she shared with us, that the main objective was of their group. They wanted to help, but they wanted to get monetized to make money. And that was like a huge deal for these women who were in this group. So they started getting involved in Northeast Texas, in a lot of missing persons cases and so on and so forth. And Melissa is how they kind of came to know sparingly about Eric's case. Melissa was working on Eric's case, and then she would share whatever information she found out with them, and they would post about it and all this different stuff, okay? Nothing wrong with that as long as, the information that's getting put out is correct. I don't know if any information prior to JC Cares USA coming aboard was incorrect or not. I've never gone and looked. Don't care. And the only reason I don't care is because when we take a case, we start from our own investigation. We start from the very beginning. We don't go off of what social media influencers have said about the case. We start at the beginning. Can't do that. We can't go off of what other people say. These people don't know Eric's family. The only person out of this group that knew Eric's family is Melissa. That's it. These other people don't know his family very well. And they certainly weren't getting any information that was sensitive. So, anyway, when we were contacted by the Alvarado family, Eric's father, to take the case, we had a lengthy discussion, as we do with all of our missing persons families. And before a case is accepted, it goes through me. Goes through me. I'm the founder. So I decide which cases we take after talking with the families, because there has to be 100% cooperation on the family's part. And they have to understand that what we do for families as volunteers. And we don't want anybody, not following the guidelines that we put forward for families. So I have a discussion with them, each and every family, at length about what we do. And they give us permission, legal permission, written legal permission to use names and pictures and information. to put that stuff online when we talk about the cases like we're talking about now. We go through all of the legalities that need to be gone through to in order to help families. But one of the main things that we stress, and I'm sure that Eric's father could tell you this, because we go over it and over it and over it like beating a dead horse. I mean, it's just crazy. And I'm sure it's very redundant to some people, some families, that they're thinking, okay. But we do tell them, I tell them for a fact, over and over and over. And I can tell you right now that I am certain, without a doubt, that on this particular case, the Alvarado case, Lorenzo, Matt, and Melissa will all probably laugh when they hear this podcast, because they know how strongly we go over the no outside social media influence, okay? And there's a reason why. Because we can't control what information is being put out. If the family is going to all these different social media influencers, giving them information, and then all this information starts popping up online, which is not true and correct, or misleading, or an exaggeration, etc., then it starts derailing the case, and it makes the job for law enforcement a lot more difficult. A lot more difficult. So, by telling families from the beginning, we do not work with any social media influencers. If you want us to take your family member's case, we will do that. But you have to decide right now that you are not going to do anything on social media with social media influencers without discussing it with us first. And that is a no go for us. That's a deal breaker right away. If you're doing that without discussing it with us first, we're going to have a problem. We don't care if the family is putting out flyers and talking about their loved one on social media, etc., etc. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is giving out case information to social media influencers without discussing it with us first, because we know what would be considered sensitive and what wouldn't be considered sensitive. So we would tell them, look, if you're going to be putting out information like that, then you're on your own. Because our organization can't be involved in you putting out sensitive information that will potentially make the case unsolvable. And we don't want that to happen. And we don't want to be a party to it. So we will back out if that's what you would like to do. But if you want your information put out on social media, on podcasts, on Facebook, on whatever platform, we're on them all, we'll do it. But we'll put it out. We'll talk about it like we are right now. And we'll put out whatever information is sensitive. We won't put that out. We'll put out information that is helpful. And then the sensitive stuff gets passed on to law enforcement. So, anyways, these women, when they got together, there was certainly every single one of them have misrepresented themselves in one way or another. One of them swore to be a journalist, was, telling people she was a journalist. And then we started doing our research. This was after she put out, a video attacking Eric's family, et cetera, et cetera. The other one, from what I understand, was a journalist at one time. And, at one point, I thought she was probably a pretty decent lady, but that's how you just know that you can't trust everyone, because this was a lady that I at one time thought, you know what, she's probably a pretty decent lady. But as time goes on, it's very obvious that she's just as bad, because she's still involved with the other ones. And so it's really a sad thing to see. So, and we're going to talk about what's alleged about her here shortly. And then, of course, there was Melissa. And, even Melissa admittedly said at one point, she came out public and talked about the fact that she had said that she had told someone that she was a private investigator. And she had to go public and retract that. And she, understands you can't do that. She knew that it was illegal to say that you're a police officer, or that you're, some branch of law enforcement if you're not, so on and so forth. But she didn't realize that it was illegal to say you're a private investigator. She felt like, well, I'm a private citizen, and I'm investigating Eric's case, so I'm a private investigator. But no, she's not a licensed private investigator. And she acknowledged that. She came out and out publicly. That's not an easy thing to do. But that is the character of an upstanding person, right? Person who will come forward and go, you know what? Yeah, I did do that. And I didn't realize it was this way. Sorry I did that. I'm not a private investigator. Blah, blah, blah. So, anyway. So, these women were, and there's another one too that I don't really know much about her and any of her involvement. We've not had any interaction with her at JC Cares USA. So anyways, we made this abundantly clear to the family that we don't work with these social media influencers. And right away with Melissa, we wanted to work on Melissa, because Melissa had been on this case for so long, and she had amassed so much information. And as a whole, JC Cares USA felt like it would really be wrong to take her off of this case that she's worked so hard on and put so much time and energy into. That time and energy doesn't have anything to do with these other women. This was something Melissa was doing on her own. But at times, she was sharing that information with these women, and then they would, post different things on their, Facebook or YouTube or whatever. If they had a YouTube back then, I don't know. I'm not sure. But anyways, that's kind of how it was going for the longest time. But nothing was happening with the case. And then there was a Facebook page that was set up by an extended family member, and which was great. But the issue was that one of the parties, specifically Eric's wife, anytime somebody would post something that said, hey, you need to look at Eric's inner circle, la la la, one of two things would happen. Well, actually, two things would happen. First, they would be verbally attacked by Eric's wife. And I mean attacked. I watched it happen. And then, shortly after being verbally attacked for responding to this Facebook page saying what they felt like had happened or what people should look at or think about this, or, as people do in these missing persons pages. A lot of people would say, you need to be looking at Eric's wife or his inner circle or whatever. And right away they would be verbally attacked by her. And then they would be deleted and blocked from the page by the moderators. So that obviously wasn't doing any good. Because people aren't going to respond and speak about any information that they have if they know that first they're going to be attacked verbally online and then they're going to be deleted and blocked. So why bother, right? Why bother? So when we took a little bit of time to research before we officially accepted the case, we noted all of that. And once we realized that that was taking place, we discussed with Eric's father that, one, we needed to change the reward value, and two, that working with other influencers on other pages where it's not controlled what information is being put out needs to stop, or we can't take the case, because we can't control what other people say. So, hold on just a second, y'all. Okay, so let's talk about what information these women who are supposedly, trying to help. They're trying to help missing persons' families, right? They're trying to put out, information on these cases. Well, let me tell you what we know for a fact. We know for a fact that these people who are supposed to be journalists have not done any homework. Right? They haven't done any homework. And I know that for a fact because since this all began in August of 23, since JC Cares USA got drug into this, you'll be able to look at the picture that's going to accompany this podcast. And the picture is a text message from the ringleader of this little group to Melissa about how angry they were that this organization was taking over Eric's case. And you'll be able to see she wrote something to the effect of, The little stunt that organization pulled. Wow. She doesn't even know us. She has no idea. What she was mad about was that since we were going to be taking over the case and there wasn't going to be any more information being given to them, Melissa had stopped giving them any information. She was furious. They all were. Because any information that we found out, if they got to have that information, that was going to help grow their page, right? And the fact that we said, no, we don't do that, we put information out ourselves, it enraged the little ringleader here. So let's talk about the ringleader. So the ringleader started in on us in August of 2023. And, we had to bring our attorneys in, and they've been following and documenting everything and researching everything that they can research. And this goes a lot deeper than we even realized in the beginning. That's how shady it is. So, let's see. What do we know that these so-called journalists got wrong? Well, first and foremost, in the beginning, they got my name wrong. So they got my name wrong. And then they got my husband wrong. They accused me of being from Queen City, Texas, married to some supposed drug dealer in Queen City, Texas. Never lived in Texas in my life, nor would I. It's not my favorite place. Not that I have anything against people in Texas. It's just not. I'm a mountains and rivers and streams and creeks kind of girl. Snow, stuff like that. I'm not a fan of flat nothing. You know what I mean? So, I'm not a fan of Texas, but I have lots of friends in Texas. And we've had lots of cases come out of Texas. And there are some really good people in Texas. Just like anywhere else, there's good people and there's bad, right? So, but I'm not from Queen City, Texas. Never have been. I've never been from the state of Texas ever. I've never lived there. And I've driven across it a million times. I think I've talked about that before. It's the longest drive ever. But no. I've driven through the northeast corner of Texas many times, since everybody knows my husband, Cajun Country, is Cajun. He's from Louisiana. He is from right outside New Orleans. So, and I've lived in Louisiana. So, lived in Arkansas, California, Missouri, Illinois, New York. I mean, I could go on. But I've lived all over this great country because I had a job that afforded me to be able to do that. So, okay. But I've never lived in Texas. So they got that wrong. I didn't live in Texas. Then I got accused of being a Yankee. Not a Yankee. So, yeah, okay. The only reason we're up here in New York City is because our youngest son, got into music school here in New York at the young age of 15. So, of course, I wasn't going to send him off to school by himself. So we came up here to be with him while he chased his dreams. We had a ranch in Arkansas, 32-acre ranch. We sold it. And moved up here so that he could chase his dreams. We knew that JC Cares USA could run anywhere in the country, no matter where we're at. So that's how we got here. We're not Yankees at all. You can't get any more south than my husband was in this country, except for what, Florida? Yeah, a little bit further south if you're in South Florida. But anyways, and my family hails from the south, so whatever. But anyway, so they got my name wrong. They got our address wrong. They accused us of lying about our address, where our business was located. They doxed us, put pictures off of Google Earth on Facebook, and told people that we weren't really who we said we were, that we were lying about who we were, that our business wasn't really here, that our address was a lie, etc., etc., etc. We proved that wrong. Our business license is on our website. We did a video where we took pictures of me standing in the doorway of our address, and so on and so forth. We even took pictures of our IRS tax ID for our business name, so on and so forth, which showed our address and so on, where we file taxes. We did all that just to show, hey, we don't owe any explanation for who we are or what we do, because we don't charge anybody for anything. Nobody's paying for anything. So, we don't owe anybody any explanation for anything except for the families. However, for the integrity of the case, and because we were new to the case and coming on to the case, we were like, we're going to put this information out so that family members outside of the father and so on and so forth all understand where we're coming from and what's going on. So they doxed us. We gave them a cease and desist. But it just kept going. And then the ringleader started attacking my children. We were child abusers. Making our child work for a fake organization, supposedly. What this person didn't know is that, and everybody who knows Tyler knows this, Tyler was born premature. He was really little when Tyler was born, and he is just a small guy, like his dad. Even his dad is a small guy. And he looks a lot younger than what he is, but I assure you he's not. He's almost 21. He's going to turn 21 in August. So, look, y'all, this person, was sending me messages and stating that, how old was he when you first started putting him online? You act like you're some sweet old lady. It goes on and on and on, y'all. And the truth is, all of our children are grown. We have 6 children between the two of us. Cajun and I. Tyler's the youngest. The rest are all grown. So then when that happened, she had to move on. Then it was, the constant attacking of Melissa. Melissa this, Melissa that. On and on and on. And it's like, okay, get over it, So they've gone on and on about so much different stuff that it's just my job, what I've done in the past. Lord, y'all, I was told by the attorneys that these clowns, and I say clowns because that's really honestly what it's come down to. It's just ridiculous now. They posted on YouTube that I said I was retired from the Attorney General's office. I've never worked for the Attorney General. And I've never said I have. I don't even know where they come up with this crap, to be honest with you. I just don't. Because that's exactly what it is. Crap. Never worked for the Attorney General's office. Said I worked for Homeland Security. I never said I worked for Homeland Security. And I've told them that. It's posted. There's a video about it on Facebook from last year where I was like, I never said any of that. I don't even know where they're getting their information from. They have no idea, but these are supposed journalists, right? Supposed journalists that know. And they're putting out correct information, right? But they can't even get my job right. They can't get the age of my children right. They can't get my address correct. They don't know my name. They don't know, anything really. For supposedly supposing to be these grand old journalists, right? So, hold on, y'all. I got a cough. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so as I go through this this message that the ringleader sent me, it was while I was coughing. I was reading some more. Anyways, she said, I have never once spun a narrative, and the comments from family under my videos speak for themselves. Something you don't have and never will because you're dishonest to the core. And then she quoted me, we don't take reward money. We don't. We're dishonest. I'm just sitting here running down the list to you of things that they're putting out public that isn't true. And have you seen us put any of that stuff out? No, that's not true. As far as quoting me that we don't take reward money, I would ask any family member that we have helped you on your missing persons case. Anyone. If we took any money from you at any time, not just reward money, any money, please come on here and say so. Come forward. Go public with it and say, yeah. Because you know what? There's none. There is none. We've never taken a dime from any family ever. And we won't. We make that very clear to the families. But we do tell them, if after the case is done, if you want to give a donation to JC Cares USA, you are welcome to do so. Have we had that happen? No. Not one family. Any donations that we have got have come from the volunteers. And that is one volunteer who has given a couple of $50 donations, and he knows who he is. He's out of California. Supposedly we don't have any team. It's just my family. Another lie that, they have put out. It's not just my family. And my family isn't making anything off of anybody. There's no donations. There's none of that. So that's all a lie. Nothing they have said has been truthful. It's all lies. And the reason it is all lies is because they're angry that we took over Eric's case. And they drug us into it when really what they were mad at Melissa for not sharing information with them about Eric's case. But then what happened was we, when they were attacking Melissa, we came out and said, hey, we support Melissa because Melissa did the right thing. She came public and said, hey, I did say this and I shouldn't have said that. And then she also was working with us really hard on Eric's case, and she was passing all the vetting that we do when volunteers come and help with our cases. She passed them with flying colors. It wasn't even a gray area. I mean, we told her one of the things that she had to do was stop sharing information with social media influencers. And because of that, look what happened. She now understands why we don't work with bad social media influencers. You gotta really vet who you're working with. And she gets it now. But she had to go through the months of vetting to realize just how bad these people were and what they're doing. So when she was not giving them any information, yet we were receiving screenshots of the messages coming from this little ring of weirdos, bad people, where they were going off on her about her not sharing information with them. It was crazy, you guys. We have them. So do the attorneys. We have a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. And fortunately for us and for Melissa, she's a hoarder when it comes to information. A serious hoarder. And I like that. Because you know what? So am I. When it comes to information, I want information. When it has to do with anything, you guys, anything, I have to have information. I research everything. I look at that's just who I am as a person. That's who I've always been. It's the kind of job that I had. I have to check everything out for myself. And Melissa is the same way, essentially. I mean, she hoarded everything, every conversation, everything that she's had with these people. And she's been able to share some of that with me. And she's going to continue to keep sharing more with us. And we will be getting that over to the attorneys. But I wanted to share a couple of things with you. It recently came to our attention that allegedly, let me say that again, allegedly, and I say allegedly because we know that all persons are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, right? We all know that, either by a jury or a judge. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. But allegedly, one of the women in this ring was put in a position to interview a woman who was claiming to have allegedly been raped. And it's my understanding that allegedly this so-called journalist had created a fake account and was harassing this victim. And why was she harassing this person who had been victimized? Well, because her and her pals decided that maybe this person had knowledge about a missing persons case that had nothing to do with this victim. Now, I'm waiting for the files to come over. And then I can tell you for a fact what was said. But, and we're waiting for conversation with this victim. But this victim went to the police, it's my understanding. Went to the police, and the police didn't do much. And so this victim decided to go to the newspaper to get her story out. And someone at the newspaper told this woman to handle this story because supposedly she was employed at the newspaper at that time. And instead of doing that, allegedly she was victimizing this person who was already a victim. Now, y'all, that makes my blood boil. It makes my blood boil. Because we're human rights advocates at JC Cares USA. We don't want to victimize victims. Why? Why would you do that? Think about that. These are not investigators. These are not people with an organization. These are not people with any kind of education revolving around victim cases or criminology or anything like that. Why? Why would they be doing that? I'll tell you why. Because, just like Melissa said, they were trying to grow their platform and get monetized and make money, and they wanted stories that they could, like, blow people's minds with, I guess. I don't know. But just like with us, they keep trying to make a story out of us. But everything that they're putting out is all lies. None of it's factual, so they don't have a story, right? And they're getting ramped up. They're getting angry right now. They're angry because, according to the attorneys, people are starting to condemn them on YouTube. They're starting to condemn what they're doing on YouTube. People are on there, they see what she is posting, and then right away they come and listen to the podcast and they realize that it's garbage. Straight garbage. So we don't go look at their YouTube channel. We did in the beginning till I realized how silly and stupid it all is. And, I pretty much was like, we're not going to listen to any more of this. We're just going to, because that's what they want is attention. They just want attention. And then we didn't, we haven't responded to anything. The only time that we have a response to anything is if any information that's getting out regarding Eric's case is incorrect, and then we go on, do a podcast about it, talk about why it's incorrect, etc., and then we just put it to rest. But what happens is these lame women they just keep going, trying to find whatever they can to say we're lying about something. And it's just so absurd and ridiculous anymore that they weren't getting a response out of me or anybody from Jason Cares USA. And they weren't getting any responses from Melissa. So what do? They then go to our YouTube page. Because our podcasts automatically, when they post here on Podbean, they go to YouTube as well. So 2 of these clowns go over to our YouTube and start commenting about the podcast that we just did about Trooper Broughton and the toe tag allegedly left on Eric Alvarado's vehicle. And they write these ridiculous short novels on there trying to disparage us in any way that they possibly can. And the only reason I'm aware of that is because it's our YouTube channel, and it notifies me directly. So we went on there, and the attorneys went on there. Everything was screenshotted, and then we disabled the comments because we just don't want these 2 dummies trying to muddy the water and, put their narrative out there and act silly on our page. They can do that crap on their own page, right? So, and then I was informed by the attorneys that because we took down their comments and turned off the comment section so that, no one can comment, they had taken screenshots of their own comments so they could post it on their own page and make it seem like we're hiding something or we're scared of something or whatever. They talked about my credentials. I need to show my credentials, blah, 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 blah. I don't have to show them anything. I think our work speaks for itself with the families that we have helped. And we're actually have some request cards out right now for comments about the help they receive so that those can be added to our website, and those will be put up when we get that out. But anyway, so listen, who does that? Who writes a nasty comment that's, ridiculous and silly on somebody else's page or platform or whatever, and then screenshots it all so that they can go and post it on their page? I'll tell you who. People who are trying to stay relevant and grow their platform. That's who. We're not doing any of that with them. We're not going to their YouTube and copying all the stuff that they're putting and stuff. The lawyers are handling all that. I don't even know the majority. The only time that I even know anything, like I said, is when it has something to do with the case itself. The personal attacks on me, my family, any of our members, any of our volunteers mean nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. It's comical at this point because they haven't gotten any of it right. And I'm not like some secret service person or something where it's hard to find out information, but I am retired from civil service. So it's not hard to find out information about me. What do you want to know, ladies? Never been arrested. Never been in handcuffs in my life. I'm kind of boring, really, to be honest with you. These ladies are just, they're not even ladies. They're just people. I don't get it. But anyways, so the list is long. My name, my address, my husband, my children, Melissa, my job, all of that. They've all gotten it wrong. Every single thing. None of them have a clue what they're talking about. They're running a narrative to oppose us. They're opposing the things we say about Eric's case because they're angry. That's exactly what it is. They're angry that they're not getting the story anymore on what's going on in Eric's case. So at every turn, they're doing everything that they can to try to find something that we're not being honest about. And there's nothing for them to find. So they can continue to search all they want to. But I do know some things about them. Like victimizing a rape victim. Or, like yesterday, creating a fake YouTube channel in Melissa's mother's name. Her 80-year-old mother who's on hospice. And it's a unique name because she has 2 last names. And so the attorneys pointed out to us that this account was created, and then the account started commenting on the Ringleader's YouTube page as if like they support her page. So they make these fake pages. Like the little Ringleader, she's got several different pages she goes under. Right? The Ugly Truth, bunch of other ones. We got them all. We know. So, IP addresses are IP addresses. So because people started condemning them on her YouTube channel, which has nothing to do with us, we don't know those people. Those people, we're not sending anybody to go do that. We don't know those people that are condemning her page. Because I can tell you right now, as firmly as I'm sitting here, if I knew of anybody in my organization that was commenting on her page without me knowing about it, they would be fired. Fired. That would be it. Because we don't entertain that nonsense here at JC Cares USA. So, this is the public. The public's responding to them and the nonsense. And so, because they're angry that they're getting backlash from the public, they ramp up their attacks by creating one of the things, by creating another YouTube account in an 80-year-old woman's name that's on hospice. Who does that? I mean, honestly, you guys, this has really gotten out of hand. And this is just a perfect example for needed legislation. It's a perfect example. The more it carries on, it's a perfect example of needed legislation to control what these people put out in public and can get away with putting out. You know what? We do have freedom of speech. But you don't have freedom of speech to victimize victims. You just don't. So we'll let them handle all that and take care of all that legally. And we are going to, at JC Cares USA, we are going to quash giving them any more attention at all. All I can do is speak for myself and this organization that is mine. And it's mine for the people. It's mine for giving back. And that's exactly what we do. And they're doing everything that they can to try to make us look bad. I don't care. What I care about is the integrity of Eric's case and these other cases that they have stuck their nose in where they're doing inappropriate things. And I can tell you this without a doubt. When I receive that information, if I in fact have solid written information verifying that these women victimized an alleged rape victim, I will be talking with law enforcement about it. Without a doubt. Without one shred of doubt. Our organization made a commitment today that we would make sure that we follow through with that if that is indeed true. And we have written facts that support that. We will be going to law enforcement with that information. Because it's wrong, y'all. It's wrong. Did that happen to that lady? I don't know. I wasn't there. But it's what she alleged happened. And she was seeking help, y'all. She was seeking help. She went to law enforcement. They didn't believe her. As often is the case when someone is a victim of rape. And so sometimes people like this person will reach out to the media, to a newspaper. Can you help me? The police won't listen to me. And that's exactly what this person did. And she was victimized, allegedly. And if I get the supporting documentation like I'm being told I'm going to get, it's going straight to law enforcement. They can say what they want about me. But I can't sit by as the founder of this organization and be knowledgeable and complicit in something like that. There's no way. So, we'll see, won't we? So, we want to put this all to rest, and Cajun's here today. Cajun, say hi.
Hello.
Cajun Country is here today, and he's been keeping notes and rocking right along with us today, but letting me do all the talking so that I could get all the information out that needs to be out about this. But y'all, we really need to get a handle on these social media influencers that are bad, that victimize people. Because there's quite a few out there. So we want to get to the bottom of it. So I don't have anything wrong. I don't have any issues with people who are putting information out that's... hold on just a second. Okay, sorry about that. I keep pausing the recording because we don't cut anything. It's just a pause. But keep pausing it because I don't want to put you through listening to me blow my nose. So, but anyways, yeah, we want to really get to work on this and get this settled. I don't have any issues with people who are, really trying to help. But, if you're out there, bucking and jiving and spreading stuff that isn't true. So let us, for the last time, address the email from Catlin, from the Arkansas State Troopers that we received, because this was the thing that they were ranting and raving about in their long, drawn out, silly and corrupt messages that they were posting on my YouTube yesterday. Okay, so let's really be serious about this for a second. So the document that they provided said that that the clowns provided was a police report that was written 5 days after Eric's vehicle was found. And because we do our own investigation, we don't just take it upon ourselves to go by something as vague and ambiguous as this police report is, okay? Because what this is, and it says it in the police report, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, you just have to be able to read. And if you're a journalist, right, allegedly, you're both journalists, then you know how to read, I would assume. And so if you read it, it says, and that's the document that they provided, right? And they only did this because we talked about that we had spoke with law enforcement when we were updating Eric's case, that we had spoke with law enforcement and that there was no toe tag issued. And, so in their effort to try to find something we're wrong about, or that we did wrong, or we supposedly lied or made it up, as was referenced in the message that she posted with this document, was that we just completely made it up or lied about it. And that's a lie. That never happened. What happened is, we did know about this document. And it's vague and ambiguous, which is why we reached out to the Arkansas State Troopers directly 3 different times. Once Melissa did, way back when, which, like I said, she's a hoarder. She's got documentation for it all. And then we did. And then we called to clarify a couple things when we did ours. So let's explain what is wrong with the police report. What the police report says is that this is a recollection, or actually, let me give you the exact words, because I want a summary is the word. So I want to make sure it's exactly correct what I say. Because, they make all these fake accounts so that they can stalk us on all our platforms. So, but anyway, it says, this is a summary of the conversation between Sergeant Restell and Sergeant Kennemore. Okay? So this is a summary. It's not the whole conversation. It's just a summary of the conversation between Restell and Kennemore. And what it's a summary of is a conversation that took place between Kennemore and Trooper Broughton. So Kennemore had a conversation with Trooper Broughton, and then he relayed that conversation back to Sergeant Kennemore relayed that conversation back to Sergeant Restell, and Sergeant Restell wrote a summary of what the alleged conversation was between Sergeant Kennemore and Trooper Broughton. A conversation that Sergeant Restell was not there for. He didn't take any part in it. It was just a summary of what Sergeant Kennemore told him that him and Trooper Broughton talked about. Well, we can't go by that. We have to confirm whether that's true or not. That's part of investigating. That's part of link analysis. You take it all apart. Every step. Piece by piece. We knew that Melissa had already reached out to the Arkansas State Police because it was in her hoarding of documents that she gave us. So we reached out as well. And they said that, Melissa's, 5-6 years later, No, Melissa didn't do it 5-6 years later after Eric went disappeared. This was way back when. So then we did it when we came on the case, and then we had a conversation with them. So anyhow, we reached out to him, and that's when we received our information, where Catlin Nelson from the Arkansas State Troopers said, look, let me settle this for you guys because we want to help. We want to figure out too, what's going on. Let me call the trooper directly myself and ask him. And that's what they did. And the trooper said he responded to the area for the vehicle that was driven by the two youngsters out of Shreveport, Louisiana, that were joyriding and stole a vehicle, and they put it into the river. He was responding to that call. He came out for that call. When he came out for that call is when he noticed Eric's vehicle on the side of the road. They had no idea how long it had been there. And they didn't know if it was in any way involved with the vehicle that had just gone into the river. So they took all the information down. They didn't know if there was any kind of connection, if that was another vehicle. Maybe, these youngsters had two vehicles. Who knows? But it was there. Nobody was in it. And so they went, looked at the vehicle, wrote the information down, and proceeded on their way. Trooper Broughton confirmed 3 different times that he did not leave a tow tag on that vehicle. And of course, because I want to make sure that we're thorough, I'm like, are you absolutely positive? Well, yeah, because if there was a tow tag put on the vehicle, it would be in the system, and it's not in the system. So not only did Trooper Broughton say that he did not leave a tow tag and he did not have the vehicle towed, but that he also did not put anything in the system. So the two facts balance each other out. They check each other out. He says he did it, and the system shows that he didn't. It doesn't matter what the police report says that Restell and Kennemore wrote. Did they do it on purpose? I doubt it. It happens all the time. Police reports are never... I mean, you have no idea how many times in a day we hear, well, the police report said this. Well, that's not what happened. It happens all the time. But we know for a fact that that toe tag was not left by State Trooper Broughton. He did not have the vehicle towed. He says he did not. He did not. He says he did not leave the toe tag, and he did not have the vehicle towed. And the State Trooper computer system shows that he is telling the truth, because it wasn't input in the system. And you want to know why it wasn't input in the system? Because he didn't leave a toe tag. And he didn't ask for the vehicle to be towed. That's why. Folks, most of you out there have common sense. And y'all know this. When your vehicle breaks down on the side of the road, okay, and you leave your vehicle on the side of the road, most people will leave a note or something. I have a flat tire, I'll be back, please don't tow, stuff like that. There's different things that you could do. People put little flags or hang something off of their window, etc. And if a state trooper comes out, they come out depending on what the policy is for their area, and they give a person so much time to tow the vehicle. They mark the vehicle, and then if it's still there 12 hours, 24 hours later, etc., they'll come put a tow tag on the vehicle and call for it to be towed, and it goes in the system that it's being towed. You know why it goes in the system? Let me tell you why. Because then when you go back to get your car and it's gone, who are you going to call? You're going to call the state trooper's office. Where's my vehicle? Or maybe you're going to call the police and say, my vehicle's stolen. I had a flat tire. Somebody stole my vehicle. No. It says right here in the system that Trooper Broughton left a notice for your vehicle to be towed on such and such date and time because it had been there for X amount of hours. You can pick up your vehicle at so-and-so tow yard. That's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. That's how it works, right? There's nothing. Zero. Nothing in the system at all. And that was a clarification that us at JC Cares USA wanted to make sure of when Catlin spoke with Trooper Broughton, that not only did she speak with Trooper Broughton, so that's not a third-party summary of a conversation between two other people. She spoke to him directly. She spoke to Trooper Broughton and said, no, you don't think this lady knows that when we contacted them that we had issues with the police report saying that? Of course we did. That's why they reached out to him directly. It's probably just a simple misunderstanding of what was said took place. But these two so-called journalists, in everything that they can try to do, is making themselves look worse and worse and worse, and I don't get it. It's very self-destructive behavior, but hey, I can't control that. All I can do is control what we put out about Eric's case. And we know that Trooper Broughton stated emphatically 3 different times that he did not put a tow tag on the vehicle. Oh, they're trying to say now that he don't remember. How could he remember? He remembers. He remembers going out there for the vehicle that went in the river. He remembers it all. That Eric's Jeep was sitting there. that he took the information down on the Jeep because he thought maybe it might be involved in this other case. But it wasn't. Had nothing to do with it. Which is another narrative that's been spun 1,000 times. Is, people in this inner circle trying to say it had something to do with the vehicle that went into the river. The 2 kids joyriding. We've read that report extensively. Had nothing to do with Eric's Jeep. Nothing. So, and then, to top it all off, we know that Trooper Broughton is telling the truth about what he says happened because it's not in their system at all as a vehicle that they had towed. It's not rocket science. That's what I'm saying is these people, they represent themselves as journalists, and there are some fine journalists out there in the world that do a lot of good work. But then there's those people that, in this day and age, sadly, in the world that we're living in now, who pretend to be journalists, and really all they're doing is trying to stir up trouble. They're not adding anything valuable to the case except for trying to cause trouble. If they were, they wouldn't be bothering with us. If they were honestly working on this case and trying to find relevant information about Eric's case and help Eric's family, they wouldn't be bothered with us, because we sure as heck ain't bothering with them. When we served the cease and desist on the first one, when this first started back last year, it stopped for months. We didn't hear anything from her. We didn't respond on any of her stuff. We weren't, talking to her. And then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, because we started doing podcasts and talking about Eric's case, then she just started trying to find something to make herself relevant, right? She doesn't have anything because they haven't investigated anything. They know nothing. They can't even get my name, my husband, my children, my job. Nothing, right? All they're doing is slandering us as much as they can, accusing us of all this different stuff that's not true. And, and then putting out fake information about Eric. And so we just go and talk about what the truth is in Eric's case, because that's what we want, is the truth. Now, I'll be honest with you. I really didn't want to do this podcast today because I know that these 2 clowns are just trying to put nonsense out there, trying to grow their platform and remain relevant, and they're not relevant to anything. And so I didn't really want to do this podcast, but I was urged to do it because once it started coming out about victimizing the victims of a rape and all the other stuff that's being alleged, we got to come forward and we got to say something, because that's what we do. We advocate for humans. That's what we do, and we're going to continue to do that. So at the urging of everybody on the board, it was decided that I would do this. One last podcast. Just know that from now on, when we are made aware that something is being put out that's false about Eric's case, we're always going to counter it with facts and documentation. That's what we do. Facts and documentation to back up those facts. We don't harass people and lie to them and tell them, make up fake phone numbers and start, harassing them to get information out of them. So, when people speak to us, they know exactly who they're speaking to. Period. So we're going to put this baby to bed. I am not going to lie and say that it doesn't tickle me that people are starting to get offended and bothered by their attack on our organization. Because I think it's just desserts, right? Don't you? It's just desserts for Eric's family. For us, we don't care. But for Eric's family, I think it is perfect. Nobody out there can begin to understand what Eric's family is going through. None. This is, Eric's father, Eric's mother, Eric's brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles. Come on. These are the people that have known him his whole life. Versus what? Versus a woman who's known him for X amount of years. Not even a decade. And two clowns who didn't know him at all. They did not know him at all. So, I think that when people speak up against their YouTube channel and the nonsense and the attacks and verbal assaults and stalking and on and on and on that these people are doing, I think it is karma for the family that's been suffering for so long and not being heard because of this kind of nonsense. So, I wanted to, well, I didn't want to. Everybody else wanted me to go in depth about how this all started, how it took off like this. And originally, when Mr. Alvarado started this with them, he didn't know. He just needed help. And that's what happens to most families, We don't think about this stuff because most families think, oh, it'll never happen to me. But then it does. And then you're like, holy smokes, what do I do? What do I do? These people are doing everything that they can to try to bait Melissa into responding, even victimizing her 80-year-old mother on hospice. And we know it's her because she has a very unique name. So, and and victimizing allegedly people of rape and so on and so forth. It's a long list, but I'm not going to put it all out here. I'm just giving you an idea of what's going on behind the scenes and why this is so horrific, and why we got to share it with you guys and put it out there so that other families know that this is really how bad it can get. We don't know everything, y'all. I say that all the time. You can't know everything. You have to learn. Every day is a learning process, and so we have to learn. But the best professionals are the ones who know that. Those are the best ones. The people that know that you can't know everything. And I'm telling you, as sure as I'm sitting here, that that's the reason why we check and recheck and check again on things to clarify, because we want to make sure before we make something public that we know what actually happened. And that's why we did that with Trooper Broughton, because it is important to us whether that toe tag was put on that vehicle or not, because it changes the timeline. It changes the timeline. And that coincides with other things that we know. So, the timeline of Eric's vehicle being there was in question. And it had been. We wanted to know exactly when that toe tag was put on that Jeep. Guess what? It wasn't. And these two can sit over there and say all they want to, that that's a third-party conversation. No, it isn't. It's not a third-party conversation. She called the trooper directly and asked him. He remembered exactly what went on. He described the whole scenario. And the fact that it's not in the system corroborates exactly what he said. Get over it, girls. Quit victimizing victims. And if I receive that information that I've been told I'm going to get, I'm taking it straight to the police. You two need to find something else to do. And leave this investigation alone, and leave JC Cares alone. But more importantly, leave the family alone. And leave other victims alone. Anyways, y'all, that's all I got for today. We're going to put this baby to rest. They're not getting any more nothing from us. So they're not getting nothing from us. They can't produce any documents from us saying we said anything or we did anything to them or etc., etc. No. They don't have any of that because it didn't happen. We're not bothering them. They are trying to bother us. But they're not bothering us. They're making us laugh. The only thing that they're really doing that's bothering me now is that I'm finding out more and more information about ugly things that they're doing to victims of other crimes, and I'm not okay with that. So we'll handle that as necessary. Anyways, y'all, we're going to close this out for today. Look, We got a new case out of California. I'm going to do a podcast about it. Been wanting to do it for the last couple of days, but as y'all know, I'm sick. Hold on just a second. Okay, sorry about that. I had to blow my nose again. I'll tell you what, y'all. When you're doing chemotherapy, it is a mess. You get a cold, it's like a big old, long, drawn out thing, and it's just, ugh. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and sign this off for today. We got that case coming up out of California. You're going to see a podcast drop pretty soon for that. I got a good feeling about that one. Hopefully we're able to run that down. But we'll see. We've had good luck in California before, that was another thing, that was said, was that we've not worked any cases and not found anybody, and obviously we know that's not true. So, and those families that, their loved one has made it home, those families know the truth, and it's not like it's a secret or anything. People know that we have solved those cases. So, anyways, thank you so much for, I should really say we contributed to solving the cases, because, when somebody goes missing, there's a whole village of things that's going on, So I don't never like to say it's just us that does it, even if we're the ones that lead the way. It's not just us. It's a joint effort. It takes a village to get this stuff done, especially if you've got two weirdos doing stupid, silly stuff, like with Eric's case. It makes it a lot tougher for law enforcement. It makes it a lot tougher for people to come forward. I mean, who's going to come forward and talk about stuff in a case like this when, they have fear of being attacked verbally and publicly and so on and so forth? No, people aren't going to do that. So anyways, we'll just get working on that podcast, get that podcast out. We've got some very serious things going on right now. So with me being sick, it's kind of put me behind the 8 ball a little bit, but I will catch up quickly. So that's why I got this team. So, anyways, I want to give a big old shout out to our friend Vic in California, one of our volunteers. He just had something done with his leg, I believe. And so I'd like everybody to please pray for Vic. Vic listens to all of our podcasts. He's just amazing. And he was instrumental in helping us find one of our missing persons and getting her home safe to her family. So, anyways, we're so grateful for that. Let's put this baby to bed, and then we'll just move forward with things that have to do with the cases and nothing to do with these two clowns anymore. We'll just let the public handle them. We'll let the public boo them off of YouTube, because, I mean, that's what's happened before. That happened before with another YouTuber who was doing basically the same thing. And YouTube came together, a bunch of influencers on YouTube came together, and we all did a petition to have that person and their videos removed. And that's what happened. And so, that's going to be what's at work right now, because people are watching. And, these people that work these missing person cases and have organizations like ours, they see it too. They see it too. And some of these social media influencers who just report about the cases, they don't actually work the cases, they just report about them, they see it and they don't like it. Why? Because they're not bad. They're good people. So they have a moral compass. And so those people that are reacting are people who are sick and tired of them victimizing people, and that's on them. We're just going to keep rolling along, right? And we're going to get Eric's case resolved. And in the meantime, work on other things that came about because of Eric's case, like the legislation. So please watch for that. Watch for the petition, because it'll be coming. I want you all to know that we appreciate all of our listeners. We thank you so much for listening to our cases and getting information out for us. It's very important that we stopped the bleeding for these families. Literally, it's just horrific, the pain that they go through. And it's not a pain that I ever want to know. So I can't even begin to imagine. But we thank you, all of you who listen to our podcast and our information. And we do try to correct information that we have out if it's incorrect. Like the other day when I posted about National Missing Persons Day, when I read the email from NamUs, I read the wrong date, and so that was on me. That was my bad, and I came on here and I did a podcast about it and acknowledged that, I had made a mistake. I read the email wrong and corrected it. It's not a big deal. I've been wrong before. I can be wrong again. I'm just human. But anyway, we thank you for everything that you do. Share your kindness with everyone in your life as you go on and about in this world. Share your kindness, but most importantly, share your smile, because it's contagious. We love you so much. So long for now. Oh, one last thing I wanted to mention is to make sure you check out the picture that accompanies this podcast, because the picture is a screenshot of a text message that the ringleader sent to Eric's father, and it shows how angry they were when we took over the case, when they didn't even know us. But in addition to that, let me say, this is mild compared to all the other ones that we have. In the other ones, they claimed to the father that they were speaking with U.S. Marshals, that they were speaking with the DNA, or DEA, about Eric's case on behalf of the family, and that's a full-on lie. So, just so you get an idea of what started it all, here it is. Thanks, y'all. Love ya. So long for now.